Hi everyone. I am here to show you a flip through of my very recently completed um, junk journal, personal junk journal. And I apologize for the light. It's a dark, dreary day here in the Seattle area, and it's kind of early in the morning. So, but hopefully you'll be able to see everything you need to see. So this turned out to be quite a bit different than what I originally intended this journal to be. I ended up removing two signatures, so now there are three, but it is ready to be concluded. And yeah, so I just wanted to move on. So this journal covers September and October of this year. So, oh, one little shout out. These little corner protectors, I really like this idea for the covers of thinner books. For instance, if you use a cereal box, as I did, or, packaging, and you don't have that heavier cover that work well with the metal corner protectors, this technique is really quite nice, and I learned it from Rhonda without an H, and I'm going to be using that a lot, I think, in the future. So thank you, Rhonda. So anyway, I will just get started. I always have two questions of myself when I start doing a junk journal, and that is, do I do a sewn-in binding or do I do a non-sewn-in binding? This time I did non-sewn-in, and the other question I ask myself is, do I want to do it in consecutive order, and a little something each day? And so I thought I was going to do that with this. My inspiration for this is Sue Fichter, and I'll try to remember to link her YouTube channel below. I just love her style, and that's what I intended to do, but it just, as it turns out, that's just not gonna work for me. So I don't do it every day, and sometimes I do like to move around in my journals. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with my next one yet. I haven't even made it, but anyway, let's go through this one. So this is for the months of September and October. My husband always gives me his leftover calendar pages from his little desk calendar, and I just write in notable events on that. So that's that. And this is a protective sleeve from, I think from like a Nexus card or a global entry card or something, and that's a used Starbucks card. I have others, so I didn't need that one anymore. This is just a quote, and speaking of Sue Fichter, she kindly shared with me her darling little old calendar pictures, so I did that there. And this is a quote from, I don't know where I got it, frankly. The background fruit pictures are cut out from an old magazine. I really love the illustrations in some of these old magazines, so I did try to start in order, and I started this on September 9th, so that is the first day there. I went to the CSA, Community Supported Agriculture, that my daughter belongs to, and we picked, or she picked up her produce and some mushrooms, and then we went out for Mexican food at Arturo's. The next day we had, well, 2 days later, I guess, we had our carpets cleaned and went out for pho at a nearby Vietnamese restaurant. The next day, the 12th, I got a cute card from my sister-in-law. On the 13th, my husband and I went shopping at REI and got my granddaughter her preferred gift for her birthday, which was coming up. So that's what we did that day. The next day, I went out to lunch with a friend, and so that's a picture of us. Inside here, I wrote about how Pat and I have become friends rather late in life. We each had a friend, a mutual friend, and she introduced us. She has subsequently died, very sadly. But I just talked about how, even though you hear a lot that it's hard for older people to make friends, Pat and I have become quite good friends, quite late in life. That day I also did some errands, and we went to lunch at Red Robin, and they have these darling business cards, so I put those there. My sister sent me a sweet book. This is a little something I tried that I saw on the internet. I can't remember where I saw that, but it's been sitting on my desk for a while, so I used that to talk about what I did on the 13th, which was that my husband and I went to Costco. The background's covered with a decoupage napkin. On the 16th, one of my grandsons came to stay with us all night, and he and I played Pictionary, and he is quite an artist, so he drew this picture for me. Let's see if I can get it all in here. And I folded it up and used that as the background for his picture. I was walking in the park one day and came across this enormous leaf, and I picked it up and brought it home, and I coated it with Mod Podge. And it's really too big, but I was happy to see that I actually had a piece of plastic or acrylic, and I was able to get it in my junk journal. I don't think I'm going to pick up leaves that big anymore, though. Anyway, continuing with my grandson's visit, we went to Dick's, which is a Seattle drive-in hamburger place. It's been around since 1954. And went to Hobby Lobby, and I got him some art supplies. Had Indian food that night. He had called me earlier with an assignment for school, and he was supposed to do an interview with a grown-up, and he was asking me some specific questions. So I thought, well, he's here. I'll do an interview with a teenager. So that is what I asked him and what his replies were. That was kind of fun. This busy page is actually a mixture of several days. One day I acted as a witness to a friend who needed to have something notarized, and we went to the UPS store, and I had to sign something that basically said, if something isn't true, you're going to be held responsible, or something like that. I didn't even finish reading the whole thing, but I put that in there just because I save everything. Went to Mexican food again. This really cracked me up. My husband bought a body brush or a bath brush, and I just loved the tag for it, so I had to save it. The Manly Man, and it wrote about that in the back. He and I went to our local clinic and got our flu shots. My daughter had brought over some snacks, and it had this colorful packaging, and I thought, well, it kind of goes with the hot mess of this page, so I put that in there. A receipt from Dollar Tree, a tag that was on a piece of squash, which I liked, and a menu from the Mexican place. This is a much calmer page. I had been working for a very long time, I think well over a year, on some journals, and I finally completed those to my satisfaction. And so I just took pictures of them. This is packaging from one of those little things, I forget what they're called, but they've got little sticks in them, and you turn them over and they put scent into the air. And I like the word tranquility on that. This is from actually a little sticker that came on the back of a Happy Meal from a pen pal, but it went with the colors there, so I put that there. And these are 3 fortune cookie fortunes. Inside here is a card from my sister. Very cute. These are labels from my current 2 favorite wines, white and red. This is a reminder from our dentist office. We got a card in the mail from the Seattle Symphony saying they were going to be doing Carmina Burana with the, I guess, the choir that's associated with the symphony. And that just brought back a lot of memories. In high school, I was in a lot of choirs. Music was my thing. And we did perform Carmina Burana. And I actually seriously considered going to the performance, but I knew I'd want to sing along or hum along, and I didn't want to drive my husband crazy. So anyway, we missed it, but I just, I wanted to keep that. And that brought back memories of those fun, good old days of the various choirs and things I was in and what I did. I was in Girls Glee, Madrigal Choir, Choraleers, a singing group called the Today Generation, the Ventura County Choral Society. Also been in some church choirs and everything, but that was then. This is now. Anyway, that's what that's about. We got a new donut shop near here I'm very excited about, and they have this really cute packaging, so I sort of tore apart the box and used parts of it to write about that. Got these cute little donuts at the bottom of that tag. It went well with the page that I happened to come across. I did decide to do this journal consecutively, so it seems to work out with the pages with the items that I want to use. I have a pen pal, Chris, who sends me awesome stuff, and this page is all about that. That is from Netflix envelope that we are no longer going to be getting. This Dear Trudy came in an advertisement. I think we're getting a lot of advertisements for, retirement stuff or Neptune Society, what to do when you're dead. Anyways, so I used that, wrote about Chris's sweet things that she sends me. That's a card from her. And this envelope was from Shutterfly. I had ordered some pictures from them at one time. I cut out these pictures from some junk mail that came, and this also came from the packaging from Shutterfly, and it worked perfectly because these are some of the beautiful pieces of art that Chris has sent me. She just does amazing work. I'm always so impressed and inspired by the quality of her work. One more. Oh, two more. And everything's very theme oriented to the season. Anyway, I thought the envelope, this was a perfect, I had saved the envelope, of course, and it was perfect for those items. I've been collecting leaves from the sidewalk around here, and I coat them with Mod Podge, and it actually works pretty well. In fact, I use them around the house. Once you coat them, they hold up pretty well, at least through Thanksgiving. And these are business cards from local businesses. This is another thing from Chris. That is from the front of a voter's guide. In this case, we got kind of a kick out of it because the only three that were in this particular flyer was three judges, and they were all running unopposed. So I confess I did not bother to vote that time. This is a picture of Misty, who was my mother's cat until she died, and then my daughter Lauren brought her from California to Washington, and she absolutely adores her, and Misty is treated very, very well. So on the next signature, again, back with my daughter at the CSA. Again, another darling card from Sue. And little napkin decoupage there. The CSA includes flower gardens where you can pick your own flowers. So when I go with her, I pick flowers and make a nice bouquet. My husband and I went and got the latest COVID shots. I love that picture. It reminds me a lot of how I used to feel about shots. I was terrified of shots. This is the one thing I don't really like about non-sewn in. They kind of move around too much. Anyway, so I wrote about how I used to be very afraid of shots, even into my late adulthood. But the year of COVID, 2020, I got so many shots, I got over it. And these are the stickers I got for being a good girl. I used to consider my holidays beginning when I got my first eggnog latte at Starbucks. And last year I went in all excited to get my first eggnog of the season, and I was told they no longer do eggnog lattes, so I was really disappointed. But I do have a mug, and we buy eggnog, and I am able to make my own. So now I have eggnog lattes even more often than I used to. And so I just wrote about that, and that was my first eggnog of the season, eggnog latte of the season. And I had a bunch of coffee-themed stickers and stamps and ephemera from places I've been, so I just made that page about that. On October 15th or 14th, the annular eclipse, states south of us, Oregon, had some pretty good locations, or that would have been good if the clouds had cooperated. But my son-in-law took his sons down on a little fun road trip and to see it. And these are some pictures he sent me from that. And then I got some of this other, the article, and yeah, some of these other illustrations are from a atlas. So I just wrote about that. I got an extra, what I call a bonus trip down to California to visit with my sister, because I had just been there in August, came back in September, early September, the 1st of September actually. But I was able to fly down there, and yeah, so that's that. Don't really care for these pages that much, but anyway, the day I arrived was fine. The next day was fine. The day after that, I needed some medical attention. So I wrote about that in there and gathered up ephemera from spending the day trying to get what I needed for my situation. So that was that. And while I was in California, we went to a number of restaurants. This is a from chopsticks from a Chinese place, 2 business cards from 2 different Mexican places we went, one of which where we met our cousin. This is a cute little bag here, and the sticker is from a gluten-free cafe and bakery. So I wrote about those places. And then this, here's a menu from a salad place where we went. It's very good, called Mixed, M-I-X-T. My sister was very busy with work, and so I went in and helped her. That's a horrible picture of both of us. But I helped her organize some things in her office, and then helped at a presentation that she did. That's her in the front doing a presentation for over 50 people. We had some little teeny tiny apple pies that we got from Trader Joe's. I don't know what she was thinking, but she threw the packaging away, and I retrieved it from the trash and used it as a belly band here to hold some extra receipts and brochures and things. Those are really good. I'm going to go get some more. One reason I flew down was to actually drive home with a friend, the friend that I mentioned earlier, Pat, who was coming up from Southern California and driving back to Washington. So we made a plan to drive home together, and I took this picture from a utility bill. I thought, showed a picture of a road, so that worked. This is the back of a book page that I wrote about our little trip. These little things are from a diner where we stopped for lunch. Business cards from where we stayed overnight. I talked about how we're quite different in that I'm a morning person, she's a night person. She's a extrovert with a lot of friends, and I'm an introvert with very good friends, but not that many. And but we get along great. So we stopped in near Salem, Oregon, and met up with my other friend, Carol. I got a waitress to take a picture of us, and we were at Outback, and I wrote about that a little bit. Got a thank you card from my chiropractor because I recommended her to somebody who actually went to her. So she sent me a thank you card and a gift card to a coffee place, which I have not used yet, but I will. My daughter and I went to see Killers of the Flower Moon, and then we met up with my husband and went to a seafood restaurant, Duke's. This is a business card and a menu from a Chinese place that we went. And this here, I just liked it. That came from a bamboo cutting board that my husband bought. And I've kept it for a long time. And I thought, the colors go together. I guess I'll use it here. And then I got this card. Actually, Sue sent me this. And I painted it using markers, actually. I might do a video on how I do that, but I painted it, and then I did this sort of frame, and then did a quote that I liked to just kind of match this other page. So that's all for that. And then this is the road trip that my husband and I took in October. And I wanted all the pages to be together, unlike my previous one where it was kind of spread apart. So I put them in the back so all the pages for the trip would be together. So we left on October 9th, went to a cute little restaurant, drove to Astoria, Oregon, and I wrote about that. This is the restaurant we ate the first night. That was a view from our table and some of the food that we ate. This is the Astoria column. Astoria has a very long and interesting history going back really further than 1792, but 1792 was when the first white men came in to the city. And then these are pictures that I took up at the Astoria column, and then that's a map of the area, place where we stayed, parking place at the column. The background of this page is just from a brochure that I picked up, and I took a walk one day along the waterfront, took some pictures that I thought were kind of interesting, and yeah, just put them on that, used that as a background page. So my husband and I went to lunch together, just wrote about that. And here is they didn't have business cards, so I took a menu from the pub where we had the restaurant. It was rainy the whole time we were there, but we really lucked out, and it seemed like every time we wanted to be outside, it wasn't raining, and when we were inside, it was. We went to the Maritime Museum, which we weren't originally planning to, but we did, and it was very interesting. This is from the front of the brochure. That's a picture of my husband with some machinery. He's a mechanical engineer, so he loves all that kind of stuff. the story around the Columbia River Bar, which is where the Columbia River meets the Pacific Ocean, is very interesting, and there have been a lot of disasters, actually. But it's quite an interesting history. I love this business card. It really isn't a tranquil river there, but I loved the card and I wanted to use it. It's got the picture of the bridge that crosses the Columbia River from Oregon into Washington. So I used that and then just wrote a little bit more about the river. A couple more brochures. There, as we were leaving, we discovered there's a paddle boat cruise that docks in Astoria. But we were leaving and didn't see any of the people, which suits us just fine. Anyway, that's that. This is just a combination of pictures that I took and from brochures. It turns out there have been a lot of movies filmed in Astoria, including The Goonies, Short Circuit, Free Willy, Into the Wild, and there were a bunch of museums. I would like to have gone to more museums, and I didn't get to. Maybe next time. And these were just some postcards that I picked up. I wrote a little bit more about the history of Astoria. It was a short trip. We just stayed 2 nights, and we traveled home. This is actually the first views we got of the Pacific Ocean, and that was back in Washington. Anyway, it was a lovely trip, and I was grateful to do it. We lucked out as far as missing the worst of the rain. So that is that, and I am ready to be done. I'm going to move on to my new one, which I have not made yet, and I think I'm going to stitch it in, and I'm not sure whether I'll do it consecutively or not. There's real pros and cons of both ways. But anyway, thank you very much if you've hung in with me all this time. I appreciate your visiting my channel. Bye-bye.